perfectly. From the roots where the earth still speaks, to the fire where they always breathe. Hands of wisdom time can't erase. Every drop got a story to say. Slow it down, feel the rhythm inside. This ain't rush, this is sacred design. From the soil to the soul to the light, what you hold is a gift of life. Dwann, feel it in your soul. Give it, let the story unfold. Ancestral power in every drop. This that legacy, this don't stop. Dwann, rooted deep in you. Give it, yes, pure and true. Not something you drink, you receive. This that energy you believe. Hey, hey. Ooh, Dwann. Oh, Dwann. Give it. This is where your elders hit and drums sing perfectly. From the roots where the earth still speaks, to the fire where they always breathe. Hands of wisdom time can't erase. Every drop got a story to say. Slow it down, feel the rhythm inside. This ain't rush, this is sacred design. From the soil to the soul to the light, what you hold is a gift of life.
Welcome. This is a special broadcast from King Simon Presents. That's KSP TV. I want to welcome everybody that's able to attend. I'm your brother King Simon. How you doing? How you doing? Honor. Welcome to King Simon Presents. Only quality people. This is what we do. And today is a special day. Also, it's a few days before Bob Law's birthday. And Bob Law's birthday would have been would be on April the 6th. And I called him all the time for his birthday every year. And Bob Law and I have a great history. He was the one that hired me to WWRL. So today's tribute to the legendary night talk show host with a master plan, one of the tallest men on radio. Bob Law stood around 6'7", 6'8". Damn near 7 feet tall. So those who've seen him at the Million Man March, those that seen him at the Madison Square Garden, he was a mountain of a man when it came to doing with a velvet voice, came to doing what he did the best, and that was convey messages to our people through radio. So this is a salute to our dear brother, Bob Law. And there's going to be people that's going to be popping in. We got Queen Afua that's supposed to pass through. We got Dwann B from out of LA that's supposed to pass through. We got Keziah Glow from WHCR and also assistant programmer over there at WBAI, which Bob Law, that was his last radio program that he was on. So, but before I start anything, I want to play a clip from one of the lectures that I did with Bob Law years ago at Nicholas, Brooklyn, downtown, when they was over there downtown Brooklyn. So let me show that right now and put myself, of course, in the spotlight, but also put him in the spotlight right now, right here on KSP TV, as I introduce the legendary, the now ancestor, on February 8th of 2012 at Nicholas, Brooklyn, downtown, the one, the only Bob Law.
But without any further ado, I got to bring up the legend, man. This brother here, back in 99. So I want to welcome the brother. I thought he was a ball player when I first met him. Yeah, this is a Dr. Bob Law in the building. Give him a round of applause. This is a nice go, brother.
Thank you so much. I'm pleased to see folk who press through the snow. In order to be here. I'm going to try and do this quick enough and then open for questions. A question and answer format very often provides the best information.
Yes, sir.
And I can respond specifically to your questions. But if we're talking about radio and the entertainment industry, we're talking about the black entertainment industry and what happened to it. And it's important for you to understand that there really was a black entertainment industry. And what was meant by that is that black people owned the industry. And the entertainment industry operated with black radio at the center of it. You know, black radio was the center of the entertainment industry universe. There were independent black-owned record companies. There aren't any independent black-owned record companies now, even the record companies that you think are owned by black folk. There are about 3 record companies that own all of the record companies in the world.
Right.
And the mega corporations. And in the entertainment industry, or the record business, there's something called a label deal, which has the major parent company saying to an independent record company, I will give you money and I will give you a label. You can call the label whatever you want. And I'll give you money to get space. You can set up an office somewhere. You don't have to do it in my office. In fact, I don't even want to see the folk you deal with. I will give you a budget, and I will, and the key is we will distribute your music. And if you don't come through us, you can't get your music distributed. So if you're not with the major distributor, you can't get into the stores that now sell records, like Target and Best Buy, Walmart,
biggest retailer,
right,
You've been around long enough.
and even Starbucks. So you can't get your music in those national chains unless it comes through the distributor. The same way you can't get your clothing line into the department stores unless it comes from Federated Stores and the distribution that they control. So you can put your name on it and you can front it off as the owner, but it is really owned by the people who own the distribution, who put up the money to get it started, and what it means, for instance, kind of get off the track, but what it means is that in this shop, if there's a clothing line, a jacket, that is really very, very popular, and it is made by the hottest rap artist going, or whoever, hottest movie star going, and everybody is buying it. This store can't get the jacket because the jacket only goes to the stores that are part of the network that the national distributor puts clothing in. So there's a thing called Black Star Power, both the sisters alluded to earlier. Black Star Power is being used to sell products to black people and everybody else, but they only sell the products through white venues. They don't sell the products through a black-owned venue. And so if you see the Victoria's Secret's TV show, fashion show on TV, and who it was, Jay-Z and somebody who were the hosts, and Kanye West. And see, that's Black Star Power, which is to bring a lot of black women and younger black women will wear the Victoria's Secret's clothing. And so in order to expand their market, they can attract a larger audience by using black stars. But the clothing are not available through black-owned venues. All of the clothing, getting off the point. Let me come back to radio.
No, it's okay. No, make that point.
Making an analogy.
But, so there was a black entertainment industry. And the black entertainment industry was black-owned record companies, independently owned, black record stores all over the country where you could distribute your records through independently owned black record stores throughout the country. You didn't need a national distributor. There were black concert promoters, there were people who owned venues, black-owned clubs where you could perform, black concert promoters who would book groups into small clubs. There were black everything on the level of ownership, which actually created a black entertainment industry. And what was of value about a black entertainment industry is that if you were just starting and you were on an independent record label, and there were a lot of people who had their own labels, and there were some labels that were created just for one artist, Dionne Warwick. The label that she was on only had Dionne, and they formed the record label so that she could record on that label. And see what happens though when you have an independent label and a little bit of money, So you take it to radio stations in maybe 2 or 3 markets. So you get the records played in Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., had to work its way back to New York. By the time you got to New York, you're saying to the people in New York, which is a major market, my record is already being played in Philadelphia and in Washington, D.C. and in Baltimore, and it's doing well. And so you're not taking much of a risk by playing my record. People really do like this. And so that is how people work the record. But you might only have it in 3 markets. And one of the reasons you only had it in 3 markets is you only had enough money to press records to cover 3 markets. And so then you come back to New York and you bring the record to the program director. If they play your record and you've got a hit, and it's not a monster hit, your group is just starting and you're just starting. So you can't fill up a 5,000 seat auditorium, but you can fill up a 200 seat club.
Right.
And so the independent promoter in Morton Hall, who was here in New York, guy named Teddy Powell here in New York, they would book you into a local venue. So when the independent promoter books you into a local venue, the independent promoter is making money, the local venue is making money, the artists are making money, and your record starts to sell as well. And so your small record company begins to make money. And it would spread and it would spread. So the point is there was an independent black record industry that employed a lot of black people. And it was a very profitable industry. People were making a lot of money. They weren't, if you had a song, if you had a record that was, and it sold 1 million copies, the problem is it didn't sell 1 million copies in a month or a week. You know, it took some time because you had taken the record region by region across the country. But by the end of the year, you had your $1 million. The major companies came in and went to artists who were guaranteed to have million sellers like Isaac Hayes. And they would say to Ike, you should come away from Stax Records because you are going to sell 1 million copies, but we have national distribution. And if you come with us, we'll pay you up front. We give you a cash advance, so you don't have to wait until the end of the year. You're going to make $1 million, we'll give you 500,000 right now.
The late great Bob Law knew how to break it down, family. And I got some of my guests coming in. I want to make sure that I get everybody a little chance. I'll be playing different clips of my dear brother Bob Law, who I was proud to work with. And first and foremost, I see the great Queen Afua. I see Dwann B. I see Layla. I see people in the background. So let me bring up the Queen to be, the Queen to last forever, the Queen to. What's up, Queen Afua?
You have a great voice.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I went to number 5 on the reggae charts. Yes, I can still sing.
You still have the gift.
I still have to give Queen. I played a clip with Bob Law, and I see Keziah Glow in the background from WHCR. I see Dwann B from LA. I might as well bring everybody on because some people can't stay. I know this is what's happening. So, but I want the Queen to come on because Queen had a special connection with Bob, and I think he was the first to interview you on radio. Is that correct? Back in the day?
I think it was Imhotep, Gary Bird.
Right.
But together they were such brother to brother. I'm sure because I was on Imhotep, that Bob Law was even more receptive to supporting me.
Right.
You know, real true friends. But what happened, the impact that he had on my life and my life's work, it continues.
Yes.
And when some others have called me in and they said, we're sorry to hear that your friend has gone. That's like the strangest thing. He wasn't my friend. I called him the Godfather.
The Godfather, that's right.
And I said the Godfather in his body was active in and with us.
Yes.
And the Godfather is still active.
Yes.
You know, and I feel his presence as if he's physically here. I do feel his presence because he grew me.
Yes.
He actually grew me up, and he would think things like, he would pat me and say, just stick with me, kid, you'll be okay.
You'll be all right. Yeah. He used to say that to me on radio too.
He did the same thing with you. Because he knew he was a man of wisdom.
Yes.
You know, and so he gave his wisdom to us at all times.
Yes.
He was Ma'at, he was the law. He gave us the law, how it should be. He was always giving instructions and guidance. I remember, and I was asking Mudamir to find a clipping because he gave sacred women who were going in our graduate having our ascension, and he came on through satellite and
Right.
told us that we have to take it to the streets. That he
Yes.
said the women have to see these women who are whole and healers. And he
Yes.
just gave his instructions. So I'm going to do just what he said this year because of that.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, and then he all because it wasn't for him, I would have never written that first book, Heal Thyself. He
Yeah.
pushed me over the cliff
Yeah.
to write that book. He was on my case.
Yeah.
That's my came on the radio.
Yes.
He
He was.
said, "So when you going to write this book?" And I said, "I'm going to." You know, I had no clue, but he had so much faith in me, so I had to bring it. You know, but he didn't stop there.
That's right. That's right.
I was at the bathhouse with Mantu. We were doing a sweat together,
His
and she
wife. Yeah.
said, "This is a check from Bob Law because he wants you to get. You have your pros. You got people running around everywhere getting something here, a little something there. Go ahead and invest." He gave me a check. I said, "No, that's Mantu. I'll put it together. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and do it." So the prize went out the length of time because of his drive and push. But he
Wow.
didn't stop there.
He
He
didn't
would
stop.
have, it was Les Brown, Vi Higginson, Imhotep, Gary Bird, and
Yeah.
myself, and maybe one or two others. And we went to one of the Caribbean islands for a few times. And
Mhm.
he was on his platform, and
Yes.
he had us to give presentation to our community. I can go on and on and on.
I know.
I hit the streets with him,
I
and he's
know.
fighting for our liberation.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Bob Lord has really nourished my soul,
You know,
and I'm
Queen,
grateful.
Queen,
Yeah.
let me ask you, how important was Night Talk back in the day when we was listening to
Oh,
Night Talk at
Night
night?
Talk was
Syndicated.
everything. That was our salvation.
Yes.
That's how we was able to keep up. You know,
Yes.
they call that what's the name of that when they call educational radio?
Yes.
Talk
Education.
radio.
Right.
Talk radio was
Talk
what
radio.
we were living, and because of the talk radio, he was so committed.
Yeah.
People would stay up all night to see everything he had to teach us, share with us, keeping us abreast. Because if you don't have the talk radio, that's what you're doing. You continue that legacy,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we don't do that, then there's no drum. We don't know what's happening, where it's happening,
Yeah.
how
Right.
it's happening. Although it's social media, or but still in that walk of the radio and keeping us abreast of everything. And I was on his show many times, and
Yes. Yes.
he kept us all connected. That's
Yeah.
how the radio worked.
Yeah,
And
I heard you on the show at night, and while you're talking, I want to bring on because she can't stay on, and then I'm gonna bring on Dwann, and then to bring on Layla. But I got to bring on Keziah Glow from WHCR in the building, WHCR Radio, Harlem Community Radio, and also WBAI, where Bob was. That was the last station he was on, actually. What's up, Keziah? How you been?
How you doing? I'm so sorry. Can you hear me? Because
Yeah, we
it's
can hear you.
going
We
in
can
and
hear you.
out.
We can hear you.
Okay. I thank you so much for having me on, and to be on with Queen Afua and yourself is an honor.
Yes, thank you, Keziah. Thank you.
Yes,
And
yes.
I know you had your some time with Bob Law because you was also at that lecture that I produced. I played earlier at the Bob. Y'all was the opening. You and another sister. I forgot the name of the sister, man. She was
Yeah.
the opening speaker for Bob Law before he came in fashionably late, but it was Bob Law.
That's all right though. That's
It
okay.
was good.
That's
So, hey,
okay.
how
And
important to
I
Bob
mean,
Law was Bob Law to talk radio, as you recall?
so just what I have to say is that
Okay.
people such as yourself, Queen Afua, Bob Law, the work that you do has opened doors and allowed people such as myself. I'm on WHCR. I'm the general manager at WHCR. I'm the program director part-time at WBAI.
Yeah.
These opportunities would never be available to people like myself if y'all had not got in the space and started using your voice and claiming the space that is ours.
Yeah.
And so it is so important that we honor someone such as Bob Law. I always think of Alma John as somebody
I'm a
who
time.
opened the door for
That's right.
people such as myself to be there. In a time when our voices are being silenced and we are not able to use the same spaces and get on. I mean, if you think about just radio in general, maybe 15, 20 years ago, there were different stations where you would just hear music that was wholesome, or you would hear our voices and hear conversations. You don't hear that anymore.
Right.
And so, of course, the internet is a powerful tool. Podcasting is a powerful tool. But what's also important is the power of radio, because it runs on a different frequency. And
Yes.
sometimes we don't know that that is an entirely different frequency than the internet.
Right.
Remember, terrestrial radio is very different than streaming and things of that nature. And I'm not knocking either one, but I am saying in times of emergency, when you don't have the power of the internet, terrestrial radio still survives.
Right.
Also, when you think about emergency preparedness, radio is very important, because you can also, if you have the right tools, which we use with something here, we have WHCR's emergency broadcast team, and I
Yep.
would like to enroll others into the WEBT family, is when you're able to use those transistor radios. We have a repeater which allows us to use the walkie-talkie from somewhere from Brooklyn Bridge all the way up to White Plains. That's a
Yes.
really big radius. So if the radio goes out or the streaming goes out, are you able to connect with your people and get online? And so, of course, this is your lane of, you do a lot of around emergency preparedness. Queen Afua, emergency preparedness is also your health. How can you manage if something happens? Are you healthy enough to be able to walk or
Yeah.
to, get to the next destination?
That's
So
right.
just kind of circling it back to Bob Law, what he did was open the door and created spaces for us to be here right now and to
Yeah.
be able to speak and say, hey, tune in and listen to what I'm doing,
Yeah.
because these spaces are being silenced. And it's so important that we remember our legends. We remember those who came before us. And I really thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this.
Well, thank you, sister. I know you can't stay too long, but I know y'all got a big jazz thing coming up. I have it right here on the screen. Tell them about the jazz fest that WHCR is producing on April the 30th, please, real quick.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much. So WHCR is in its 40th year,
Right.
and that is huge for a community radio station. That's Harlem Community Radio. And what
Yes.
we're going to do is we have access to Aaron Davis Hall.
Yes.
It's going to close down for 2 to 3 years for renovation in June.
Wow.
So we're going to be one of the last shows that is there, and we
Okay.
are having this fundraiser. You know what? Even if you can't afford to get a ticket, give us a call. We still want you to be there.
Yes.
We want the community present. We're going to have Allison Williams, Orrin Evans Trio, Bobby Sanabria,
Yes.
Allison Williams, Mimi Jones, and also Antoinette Montague will be a part of it. Mr. Apollo will be a part of it. So we're
Right.
looking to really have this classy jazz event. It's on International Jazz Day. And like I said, if you can't afford the donation of $40, maybe you could reach out and just let us know, hey, I'd still like to be a part of it, but celebrate with us. We are trying to stay on air for another 40 years.
I'm definitely going to come through myself. I love jazz. That's one of the music that put me to sleep. So alongside reggae and house
Yeah.
music and all reggae and slow music and classical music. But I know you got another thing though. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
So
and soon
quickly,
I'm looking
Keziah.
for you to be on WHCR with your
You
music
play
show.
games. You've been playing games with me. I'm waiting for you.
I know. Okay, you are. That's true. That's true. Okay.
I love you, Keziah, man. Be safe out there. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Queen Afua. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Queen, that's Keziah, man. I gotta definitely get you back on get on her platform over at WHCR before I bring on, and because that was a primary source of community radio over there, just like Mega Evers back in the day, right here, and of course WWRL, which I was on. Bob Law was my boss. He hired me on WWRL in 1999.
What was your audition like?
All I had to do was send a cassette, and I did the intro and the outro to "Love Is the Message." I remember the mix. I did the intro and outro, and Bob Law called me after I said he called me on the cassette. He called me after that. He said, "Can I talk to Simon Templar?" that was my radio personality name, because Simon is one of my middle names, but I used to put Templar like the saint. he said, "Is Mr. Simon Templar there?" And he called me on, and I laughed. So I said, "Who's this?" He said, "Bob Law," because he called me. I was like staying at my mother's. I came back from Georgia. I'd moved back from Georgia because I went to Georgia, and I tried to apply for V100, but they had their own little click system. So I came back to New York and landed a job on the
Wow.
oldest Black operated radio station
Love
in New York
that.
City,
I
and
love
Bob
that.
Law was the one.
You're natural.
Yes. Before I bring on Dwann B, Queen, I know you got some events. What events that you got coming up? I want to make sure that we get that through, to people. So what's going on with your next event, please?
Sacred Woman is on the move. We're starting this semester up. Actually, tonight, right after this, we have our Sacred Women Runway to prepare the sisters, mothers, and daughters to take the journey for their rites of passage, which is a journey of wellness and healing based on our African natural lifestyle, our culture. All the women from all the different spiritual houses, we unite for wellness families.
Yes.
So that's one of the things. The other thing is it's a spring cleaning time, 21-day detox. You know
Yes,
what time
right.
it is. It's been going on for the last 30-something years. So those people who are looking forward to be recharged, revitalized, come on in, because it's about healing. If you heal the woman, you heal the family.
That's right.
But
That's
every
right.
one of us is a healer. If you're the one healing your family, there's always
Yes.
one of us.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
part of the tradition? And
Yes.
so it's up to us, each one of us, to bring the healing to our home, to our family, so that we can be a mighty, healthy people. So that's what's happening now.
And family, her website is right here. It's pinned to the top, queenafua.com. Dwann B's website is on there, dwannb.com. And also Keziah Glow's website from WHCR.org is also, just in case y'all want to click in and find out what they're doing. Queen, before I bring on Dwann, why was it that husband and wife team of Bob Law and Montu? They opened Namaskar years ago back in the day on Vanderbilt. Well, I think it was another location before that, if I believe, back in the day. And then they moved to Vanderbilt back in the day. But I know Vanderbilt and then Atlantic Avenue. Why was the team of a husband and wife team so important in regards to health and community? Go ahead.
They showed what family looks like.
Yes.
They showed what family looks like when they work together. And they were a strong team.
Yes.
And that image of Montu Law and Bob Law together is what really fortified the community.
Yes.
He did the radio. He galvanized us. He did much of that street walk and bring us together. But Montu was her home base. She took it a home base, which was the center, the wellness. I call it like a wellness hospital.
Right.
People come in there for all kinds of issues. I have my products in there. I did workshops with them for years.
That's right.
Community service. So it was a perfect us and a star. We saw resurrection between the two of them. We saw great communication. We saw how we should work together as a family unit for our community upliftment and wellness. So within that, we're so eternally grateful. And Montu, I loved her. I love just like I love Bob Law, and together they supported all of us.
Yes.
So we're going to be forever grateful.
Man, Queen, I know you're a busy woman. I didn't want to keep you too long, but I wanted to make sure
you did. I'm grateful that you called.
No, at least this although it's going to be a short one, and other people are doing. Carl Nelson, everybody is doing different things for different people. They're doing for Bob, and but I know that this little brief one that I'm doing is gonna, because our attention span is so short. Our people need to get it quick and learn it quick. I'm gonna play some clips and all that kind of stuff. But I love what you're doing, Queen. Any last words for the audience before I let you go, my sister, please?
Well, everyone, just light a candle for our ancestors.
Right.
And thank them.
Right.
Rather than be sad, because he lived years with us and grew us up. Look at the greatness of our ancestors. Yes. And when you call their name, then their work continues to live. Yes. Don't forget them. Yes. Follow listen to their tapes. Listen to what he's left us. He left us with so much information, inspiration. Buy black. Support one another. Study what he left with us, just like you study Marcus Garvey.
Yes.
And if you study and apply it, then Bob Law's life will continue to live through all of us. So I will continue to call his name, and I'll continue to walk the path that he gave to all of us. So
before you leave, I want to introduce you to a personality in LA. His name is Dwann B. He's not only a comedian, but he's a music historian, and he's just a beautiful person. Here's our brother Dwann B. Dwann, what's up, my brother?
Hey,
Greetings,
what's up,
Brother
Mr. King
Dwann.
Simon? Hey, Queen Afua, I've been following you for a long time now, so it's good to talk to you.
You got to
Well, it
get
feels
on your
like
show,
I know
man.
you. I feel like I know you like a cousin or uncle or big brother.
He got a big platform, sister. You should get on his show because
Oh,
you
love it.
definitely you know the history. You go back with not only music but health and music.
Yeah,
You know, because
Mhm.
even
yeah,
Baba Heru was into music himself. Your former
yeah.
husband was into music. All your former husbands, I think, is into music.
Oh, don't
So,
start. That's gonna be nothing.
I'm out of
Queen,
that.
Queen, I love you. I'm gonna connect you and Dwann B together. Okay, my
I would
sis,
love
because I
that.
definitely want you
I
to get
said
on his show
the
because he got
vibes are
a.
good.
And
Uh,
he's a cardologist, so he's good with the cards too. Very good
okay, I'm
cardologist.
good with the dowsing, so
Yes,
keep
she's
doing
good.
that's
Yes,
a good thing.
yeah.
All
Oh,
right
yes.
now.
I
All
so
keep
right,
look
them
at
Queen.
closed.
so
I
look at
keep
you
them
showing your
closed.
cards, and look what I'm showing my pendulum.
She
That's
does
how
a
we do
Uh-huh.
pendulum.
it. Picking
Yeah.
up vibes,
Uh,
okay?
Uh-huh.
all right, Queen. I love you, Queen, all the time, man. I know you're a busy woman. One love. All
All
right.
right.
All right.
Blessings
Peace and
upon
love.
you.
All right. That's right. That's it. That's it. Our sister. What's up, man? I gotta bring while I'm getting you on, and I want to bring on a person who used to work with me on WWRL, so all of us could be over here because you brother, you never really met Bob, but you learned a lot from his history, and I want to make sure you introduce you to my sister Lala in the building. Lala, what's up, girl? Say what's up, Lala in the building. What's up? Say hi to your mic is
I'm
off, girl.
muted. Hi. My apologies. I'm literally doing my taxes. So
Okay, okay. I don't want to mess up that,
I
girl. Stop
said
playing. The
I'm going
IRS
to
will
have to
lock
sit
your ass
down.
down.
Love that.
Yeah. How you feeling? You all right? Because Bob was somebody
I'm
that's inspiration to you too. What's going on, sister?
I'm going to say a quick story. I don't know if y'all can hear me. I'm in the store. Sorry.
We can
Everything's
hear you
loud
while
down.
you in the ghetto store over there doing your taxes.
On this
That's the
side.
ghetto
So,
tax.
we we were talking about when you and I were at that event at Word Up Cafe a couple years back.
Yes.
And Mr. Law was speaking, and we were talking about education, right,
Yes.
or lack thereof, and the Board of Education and how they're failing our children.
Right.
And so we were in the crowd saying, "Yeah, good, good. We were saying, yeah, the system is failing our kids. They're not doing right by our kids." And Mr. Law said, "No, no, no." He said the system is not failing our children. It's doing exactly what they designed it to do. The system is
Okay.
working just fine.
That's
Mm-hmm.
fine.
And we were
That's
all
right.
sitting there like,
Mm,
oh, he right.
that's right.
He right.
That's right.
So that stuck.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
They old Biden phone. Lord have mercy. Well, now that her old Biden phone is gone, let me. Lord have mercy. Oh, brother, how you been, brother?
I've been good, man. I appreciate you for inviting me on. Thank you. How have you been?
I'm good, man. Hey, although you never met, you said you learned a lot from Bob because Bob was a music historian for I mean, everything that came out his mouth, even when we was off air, was about the music and about the history of Black people maintaining a Black radio station around the world because Black radio kind of declined after a while, and that was it. And that was the problem. So I know that was so. Tell us about what you learned from our dear brother Bob Law, man, the legendary Bob Law from Night Talk. I know his talk show was syndicated all around the United States at that time. What is it
Yeah,
that you learned
I
from our
learned
brother?
a lot from him because he gave me the breadcrumbs.
Mm,
You heard the decline in radio, but he gave someone like me who's always researching and reading. He showed me where to look
right,
and what questions to ask.
right.
When I interview people now, like I interviewed this guy that was over in LA radio, Kevin Slow Jammin' James.
So Jammin' James, I heard of him.
Yeah, he's actually an old white guy. I didn't know he was white.
White guy, yeah.
But but I was interviewing him, and a lot of the questions that I asked him really had to do with things that Bob Law made me aware of about how the personality DJ in my I do a lot of work on hip hop history.
Yes.
And I was able to really tie in the rap scene to the New York radio scene because of Bob Law. Not because of something that he said explicitly saying that's where it comes from, but he told me who Jocko Henderson was.
Yep.
he told me who Frankie Crocker was.
Eddie
And then I got
OJ.
to listen to Jocko Henderson. And then I heard another interview with George Clinton with him
Yep.
getting his rap from Jocko Henderson.
Yep.
And then they all came full circle when even Fab Five Freddy admitted and talked talked about Jocko Henderson's influence on the rapping and over the beat. But that research never would have come had I not heard Bob Law talk about Jocko Henderson, because Jocko Henderson was before my time.
Yes.
And
yes.
so being someone who understands how to research, sometimes you just need a notion. You just got to know where to look.
That's right.
And he gave me so much of that. Like, I remember one of his jokes that he said is actually a shot at my father-in-law.
Really?
When he talks about yacht rock, he
yes,
he called it Blue Eyed Soul.
Right.
He said, you know, they came with Blue Eyed Soul. Basically, we acquiesced, and then we got Lionel Richie. And he always used Lionel Richie as a punchline for when talking about the white nigga black music.
Yes.
He always used Lionel Richie as a punchline, but my father-in-law produced all of those songs, man.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, all that, and from that, I went to ask Mr. James Carmichael. I was like, so y'all really did cross Lionel Richie over? And I said, so how did you know? When did you know you were going to cross Lionel Richie over? I was listening to Mr. Bob Law. Mr. Bob Law talked about how basically Lionel, when it came to the white sound, he outdid the white folks.
Yeah.
And Mr. Carmichael also produced Brick House, you know, Neither One of Us by Gladys Knight. Some
Neither
of
one of us,
music.
Brick House, yeah.
How did you make that jump to that white sound? And he gave me the whole story, like, you know, how it was intentional. We started with Easy like Sunday Morning, and we knew when we did Easy, we knew from there we'd be able to cross Lionel over. And so he sort of gave me the backstory behind the scenes of what Bob Law talked about happened. So Bob Law's talking about from on the consumer end, and then I'm getting to talk to the person who was there to do it. And the stories did this, you know?
Yes, they crisscrossed, right, and cross-referenced each other. Yes.
They crossed, and then one more thing that Bob Law really turned me on to was the white paper report about how they took away the live instrumentation, how they took away the back. And so when he told me that, of course, I went back to my father-in-law and I knew musicians from Earth and the Fire back. I grew up playing in church. So a lot of your people who played in church, former members of Earth and the Fire and stuff like that. So I have a lot of OGs that played during that time. And I got to hear from their end what happened when the live music was taken out of our sound.
That's right. That's
right. They went so far as to say, I know some producers that was told, if you ever bring produce a live instrument, you'll never work again. Like producers were really between 1980 and 85. It was a hard hammer that was put down on them on the quality of production.
Also in school, the live music was taken out of school.
Yeah.
I was in a music school, a music class back in the day. I remember, matter of fact, Will Downing Jr. was also in my school, and Shaggy we was all in the same school. Erasmus and Mr. DeVito, the teacher, Mr. DeVito was our music teacher, showing us all the little string instruments, showing us all the brass instruments when I was young. You know what I'm saying? So man, and then they took out all of that.
And he talked about, because if you listen to the music,
before
1979, and after, it's a different sound. And then between 1980 and 1985, you sort of see a hybridization. And then after 95, it's completely electronic. You know, no more strings, no more live horns. The background singing is minimal. And you saw this slow ruining of our sound. The things that made our sound rich and glorious and wonderful, the things that gave us all of the spiritual enzymes we needed through our sound was taken away. And I would not have gotten known to ask these people, and some of them now since passed along. But I wouldn't have gotten these information out of these people had I not heard Bob Law talk about this. So when it comes to my research in the book that I'm writing right now, I'm doing a book right now on 250 years of Black American music in America.
Wow.
Going back from Boston, Massachusetts in 1776 through hip hop and everything. But Bob Law, his work gave me all the breadcrumbs I needed to do my additional research. I know that was kind of long-winded, but there was a chance we were going to do an interview, meet up together like in 2022 through a mutual person. It just never happened. and I just wish it did, man.
I'm gonna see if I can connect you to his daughter, because his daughter's a beautiful, tall glass of water. Oh my gosh, she's a beautiful sister. And I'm gonna see if at the funeral if we could get a number, and see if you can get some research maybe through her, and maybe we can get some connection, because that is my sister. Every time we run, she's smiling, big smile. We always, because she know I was there, and me and Bob brought in Claude Anderson twice together. So Dr. Claude. So just having a rich legacy with Bob, man, was and if you don't mind, I want to play a clip of Bob while we're here, because Bob was at a few of my lectures, but there's one that he did with Claude Anderson that I'm going to play right now. Let me open this up and say big up to everybody. Nicholas Brooklyn. We might have to bring you to Nicholas Brooklyn. Come teach a class, man. You playing games, man.
Oh yeah, man, I'm there.
You're a comedian too, so it's like you're not only a music, you're a comedian. So
I do it all, man. See, comedy is what got me. When my major in college was communication studies and how to speak, and my professors always told me, comedy is what's going to keep your speaking chops fresh. Right. And I didn't do it for years, but getting on stage to make people laugh, when I started doing it, it just became easy, so I kept doing it.
That's funny. I used to do comedy also, but I was working with Monteria Ivy, who used to do Snaps. That was my friend.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my brother who wrote the book Snaps. Him and Stefan Dweck, who's a good friend of mine to this day. And Stefan, a good.
I had that book.
Yeah, Snaps. Monty passed on. Yeah, he had Figures on the front. I remember Talent was on one of the front.
I bought that book. Yeah,
I had all the series. Yeah, they had a whole series going on, man. But Monty passed on, man, and they buried. They had the funeral at Abyssinian Baptist Church, the famous, world famous Abyssinian Baptist Church. Also, Rashid Thurman was a good friend of mine. Rashid was another comedian who passed on, man, with the whole the Spanish guy wasn't no snitch. Papi ain't no snitch. That was my boy, Rashid. Good dude, man. He was born January 28th. And my brother Monteria Ivy was born May the 6th. I always remember either May 6th or May 15th. But definitely, we're going to remember these birthdays. But let me play this clip. I think who else? I think what's the name came back. I think my sister came back, but I don't know. I don't see no camera, so I don't know. Let's play this Bob Law quick, real quick. Okay. Hold on 1 second. This is him opening up for Claude Anderson. I just found it.
In this society right now, well, it's not even being promoted in this society. What is being promoted to black folk is individualism. Yes, sir. While every other group is being organized around group consciousness. Every other group is concerned about the prosperity and even the supremacy of their own group. Black folk are still trying to be multiracial, multicultural, multi-everything, and are reluctant. We even had a group of black men who ran for office in this last midterm election, and all of them ran as white men. And they said that they were they were going beyond race. Now, beyond race couldn't possibly mean, well, I don't know what beyond race means, because it didn't mean that they were broadening their appeal. As I understand it, when you go beyond race, that means you stop talking about certain kinds of things. You stop talking about yourself. So you don't broaden your scope, you narrow your scope in order to get beyond race. But I need you to be clear, what they mean by beyond race is they ran as whites. When they ran as white men, they lost, which is going to cause some of them to rethink.
Wow.
And even more so, it's going to cause the Democrats and the Republicans to rethink whether or not they need those Negroes, because they couldn't win beyond race. Every other group in this society is focused on group progress, while we are promoting individualism. So black people think that we are making progress because there's a black guy running Time Warner. Black people are gratified because Ken Parsons, I believe is his name, who runs Time Warner, or not Ken, Richard Parsons. And so black people are gratified. Black people are happy because Oprah is rich. Black folk are pleased because there's a black guy, Ken Chenault, is the head of American Express. As though that has something to do with your American Express account. But when any other group promotes group progress, all right. So you are here because you understand that. You are here because you understand that everything black has been pushed to the margin. everything black is now unacceptable, problematic. And what we are saying is that we've got to bring black back.
That part right there, man. I want to stop
Yeah.
right there. We got to bring black back. And I got to commend you, my brother, because I know everything with the foundation of Black American and what you've been saying. And even Bob Law understood, even when me and him used to discuss about what I used to hear when I'm born here, but going to the Caribbean, hearing American music through Antilles, the big radio station that was broadcasting throughout the Caribbean, through American music, everything that we used to pick up and all that. That's why when people start saying stuff, I'll be like, bro, y'all gotta study your history.
Got to study your history.
You got no radio history. That's how important it was, because Bob pulled out radio. As a matter of fact, it was a Caribbean producer that got Bob Law fired after he hired me.
Oh, wow.
I'm not gonna say his name. We all know who he is. Let's stop playing. and because he had talent with the computers, he was very tech savvy. And man, I remember there was a situation going on, but he was also very crazy towards Caribbean people in there, because I remember one time they was calling each other, two Caribbean guys, the producer and one of the salesperson who was also from the Caribbean, one calling him Brutus and the other one calling him Caesar, and it was crazy. I mean, they was making these comparisons, little underhand comparisons, and I'm walking in the building, I'm like, wait a minute, I know this history. So again, Bob understood what happened, and of course, the WWRL was making a change to talk radio and more technological changes. And this guy came in with his technology, had technology savvy, had the license and all of that stuff, Mac, everything. And I understood. And I understood what was happening. But I remember still being a friend of Bob, still supporting his business, and going and we producing events together. I would call him and say, look, let's do Claude Anderson together. I'll be happy to help promote, and boom, boom. He say, yo, let's put in the money. This is all Claude wants, this because he was a friend. He wouldn't charge him too much. And Claude would come. Twice he did Atlantic Avenue at this venue near his shop, and it held like 200 people. And then we did National Black Theater that was owned by the late, great Barbara Ann Tier. Over there, we had 300 people. And that time we had who opened up? We had Polite opened up at that time. Brother Polite had opened up back when he was in his conscious days before he went Negroish. And we had Sutek open up. We had Brother Sutek from Jack's running with Sarnetta, who ran with Sarnetta back in the day, and Bob Law, and then it was Claude Anderson. I was the MC for the whole thing. So, man, I had a great run with Bob, man, for so many years, since listening to him since I was a child, since I was a young teenager, because AM radio was hard to listen to back in the day. And, they had their battles. Frankie Crocker was also on WWRL back in the day also. And Frankie was one of my teachers. Listening to him on FM, on WBLS, and Gary Bird, all these. Alma John was the first Black female radio host in New York at the time, and on WWRL, man. And that was a powerful thing. Lala, I seen you. I'm gonna bring you back, Lala, but your phone be cutting in and out, so I'm not going for it. So I see you, Lala. But tell us before I let you go, my brother. Tell us, how important is Black radio now more than ever, and Black representation of radio all over the world, but especially here in America's Canada, South. Because I was on Canada radio back in the day too, C-Cut. I was on that radio station, the C-Cut, and out of was it McGill University? I believe it's McGill University or Concordia University. But I was also being interviewed back in those days. So how important is Black radio for all the diaspora, but especially here in America, my brother?
It's super important. That's why they keep us out of it.
Yes.
Here in LA, Power 106, the hip hop station, the only Black people that are on it are like people who are like already 10-time Grammy award winning artists, but the regular DJs, there are no Black American DJs on hip hop radio, and there hasn't been in a long time. Wow. They got the Black American DJs got kicked out back in the 90s here in LA.
Yes.
And so that alone, because radio was where we used to always tie into community. That's where you get to hear what's going on locally. And that Telecommunications Act, something else Bob Law would talk about a lot, that took away local ownership. Now local concerns aren't getting met on the radio. So now it's like the new radio is the internet in so many ways. You know, the internet has become that.
Yes.
And going to what you were saying about the whole FBA thing, that's something that I, you know how I do it. I'm always very much so down the middle. I give everybody the blues.
Me too. I'm down the middle.
You get the blues. I don't care who you are, you get the blues.
Exactly.
But the whole purpose of it for me, it was born when I first got on the Bob Law a while ago. I was working in mental health with these kids. And I saw here in LA, the Department of Mental Health. I worked in Spa 6, that's South Central LA, Compton, Watts, Inglewood, everywhere you've seen on TV about LA, those are my clients.
Yes, sir.
For 15 years. And I saw in my own work that behavior was always tied into how perception of self. And I also know that group esteem can do a whole lot to raise self-esteem. So maybe you have a situation, your mom's on this, your dad's not there, to where it may not be nothing right there for you to look at and have pride in your immediate environment.
Right.
So I would pull the children's eyes back and see the larger environment and the greatness. And I would flip behavior oftentimes, just teaching them about themselves, knowledge of self.
That's right.
And music was my chosen pathway to do it most, because one, I was always a music nerd. I never saw myself as a music historian. I was just somebody since the age of 5. I'm sitting there next to my dad watching interviews with Motown. I used to watch those Motown VHSs with my dad. You know, me and my dad connected over 2 things: the Lakers and documentaries. Other than that, my dad was always present, but he just, you know, old fathers just want to smoke. Kid, get away from me, you know. But Lakers and documentaries, my dad and I were gonna be close when I was a child. So I've always researched this stuff. So I would just tell these little tidbits of stories about music to the kids, because music is the one thing that you can't go anywhere without hearing.
That's right.
And sound is the only involuntary sense, and music is everywhere. TV commercials, stores you go to. So I'm like, if I could teach these kids that everything you hear, no matter the color of the person playing it, whether it's Elvis or whatever, it's still Black music. And if I can teach that to these, it can do something to raise the esteem. And it was Bob Law that really, really got me to see the importance of like the radio and and to really go deep into it. Was even deeper than I knew at the time. He had me go to a whole new level. So my teachings became much, much, much deeper. And I was able to see the result out of all those years, out of the hundreds and hundreds of kids that I worked with.
Right.
When I was able to connect them to something like that, you saw the change in behavior. You saw the change in how they treated each one themselves, and more importantly, not more importantly, but just as important, how they treated their fellow brother man.
Man, he would have loved you. He would have loved your willingness to study and learn, and he would have loved your revolutionary mindset on how you promote Black music and studying Black music. And I know he would have sat down. I wish you would have called me and said you didn't know Bob Law. If you would have,
I didn't know you knew him.
I know you didn't know. I know you did. I wish, but when you put up that clip of you talking about him, I said, "Oh, I got to reach out to the brother," because I started crying again. Because as soon as I heard he passed, I started crying, because I know he is the one that for a WWRL being a legacy radio station open since 1929. I know that history. Going through Spanish, going through all of that, going through all these different dynamics till it became not the first Black owned radio set. It was the first Black operated, and then it owned it. Then the Smalls family. Then I found out that I was there for Sid Smalls' funeral. Because he was the owner of that. He was all there. They was all partners with Percy Sutton. Everybody was friends. They had this whole conglomerate of radio. And then his son, I just found out his son passed on, who him and I used to roll together. Anthony Smalls just passed on. I just heard about it yesterday. Last year he passed. I'm like, what? I said, damn. I said, I wish I would have knew. I wish these people. And I don't know if you ever heard of the legendary Dow twins.
Yes.
I'm interviewing the last Dow twin on the 29th of this month.
I'm tuning into that.
He worked on WWRL as a salesperson when Bob and Bob they had their ups and downs, but he had the legendary parties at the Intrepid. He had all of these great parties, and I was one of the MCs at one of them alongside. So, Bob, And these guys that I got to experience on radio, because I got into radio since the early 80s. I actually got on radio from the early 80s, and then it was Bob that opened that door for me to get hired and get paid for what I did weekly on WWRL 1600 AM radio, the Super 1600. Don't forget, that's what they used to call it. Super 16. Then it became the urban mix and all. I was doing the urban mix era, so. Man, he's gonna be really missed, man. And I remember when I met Frankie Crocker years ago, but Frankie Crocker moved to LA after. Yeah, if you remember, Frankie Crocker became Hollywood Crocker. He was the chief rocker over here.
Yeah.
Hollywood Crocker over there. And he reintroduced me to my cousin, Grace Jones. That's my cousin on my father's side.
That's great. I went to go see her at the Hollywood Bowl last year.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah. It's
funny. We went backstage. Huh?
I had seats right there on the first row, so she still had her booty out, and she turned around right in front of us. I'm like, that's Grace Jones. There she goes.
That's Grace Jones.
I'm sitting right there like,
that's Grace Jones, and Grace. And she took me backstage, and because I called her by her last name, one of her old last names. That she said I haven't heard that last name in years, and she said, "You're somebody. Come backstage. Let's talk." Talked, and they had all these cameras and everything, and they were taking pictures. I found my long lost cousin. I said, then I seen her mention our name in the documentary that she had on Amazon. I said, man, Grace. I was talking to her. She gave me a number, but she changed her numbers like underwear, so I never.
Yeah.
She's always traveling, but brother, I'm proud of what you're doing, man. Keeping up the legacy. I usually pop in and out when you're coming on because I know this is the East Coast West Coast thing that So sometimes when you're coming on, it's like early in the morning when you come on over here. So, yeah. But I'm usually up studying and all that kind of stuff. So I want to thank you for coming on, even though you didn't know our dear brother. You are an inspiration to these younger brothers and sisters. Like Bob inspired a lot of these younger brothers and sisters out there. And thank you so much. And family, his website is right here, DwannB.com, DwannB.com, alongside Queen Afua, alongside my link tree, alongside Keziah Glow's website off of HCR. I'm gonna have to get you on her show because I know she would love to get some radio history from out of you, man. WKW. That's a monumental Harlem community radio station out there in broadcasting out of City College, where Professor Smalls, all of them taught out of. What I'm saying? So I think I'm gonna connect you with her because I know she would love that too. I know they're still watching. So, brother, any last words?
I got just like an interview Kevin Slow, Jimmy. I mean, I'm interviewing as many of the older DJs as possible. Anybody who was around when radio was still radio, I want to talk to them all.
I'll get you Gary Bird's number. I talked to Fatim because Fatim was supposed to text it to me.
Gary Bird? You mean the rapping Gary Bird?
Gary Bird. Imhotep Gary Bird's still alive, sir. He's still here? What are you talking about? The one you played?
Yeah. Please, I would talk to him in 5 minutes if I could.
I'll get Fatim. Fatim is the producer over there of Open Line for on WBLS, and also he helps with Al Sharpton. Also, he handles Al Sharpton. So that's my friend, and we talked just the other day because he's born February 12th, and I know I called him for his birthday. We called each other for our birthday. So yeah, these are people I know.
February 12th, King of Diamonds, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I'm February 1st. He's February 12th. So yeah, but Gary Bird, I know he was born, I think March 13th. Yeah, Gary Bird born March 13th because Stevie Wonder was born May 13th. I know they used to talk about the 13 energy, and Stevie Wonder knows birthdays, man. If you ever heard he'll remember your birthday, sir. Okay. That's how crazy it is. But I don't know what he's studying, but I know he knows birthdays. But brother, I'll see if Gary's open to that. Fatim will have to send me his link to see what's up, and I told him I would love to have Gary Bird on my show too, because Gary was an inspiration, and it was him and Lloyd Strayhorn that made me was the catalyst for me to get into numerology even more in 1989. It was him, those two right there, because he was interviewing Lloyd, and Lloyd, I called in on Lloyd on that show with him and Gary Bird, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? But brother, any last words for the audience about music and radio and in general before we close out? How important it is as we close out, brother?
It's important because music is a sonic interpretation of our environment.
Yes, sir.
Live music crystallizes. It's a sonic interpretation of the four elements of life: earth, air, water, and fire.
Right.
Your drums are your earth. Your air comes from your horns.
Right.
Your water comes from your keys. Your fire comes from that guitar sound, and and the horn and the human voice is all 4 elements combined into one.
Right.
So when we have live instrumentation, live singing, that is right in alignment with those of you who are really into health, talking about live organic food versus processed food. When you start to make music on pads and these simulations of sounds, that's like going into processed food. It made the more auto-tuned up, the more the more is done on a computer, the more McDonald's it gets. You know, so when you're listening to music, when Mr. Bob Law taught us about how they took that live sound away. Well, there was a reason why they took it away. It wasn't just budget.
That's right.
It was because when you listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire, you're gonna feel better with those live horns, those live sounds. When you listen to anything from Gamble and Huff, anything from Minnie Riperton, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Smokey Robinson, The Temptations, The Four Tops, Ray Charles, is going to make you feel better.
That's right.
When you get into the 90s, the rhythm and blues got all processed.
Yes.
And it became McDonald's, great artistry, but McDonald's processing.
Yes.
What we get now with auto-tune and the process is just no real nutrients in the music.
Right.
So tap into live music. It's still great live music that's out there right now. Still great artists making live music today. And I always say our golden era of music is in the 70s. You really want some non-GMO, organic, straight from the heart, straight from love music, you got to go to the 70s. And it's Mr. Bob Law that really pointed me in the right direction to see not only what he's saying is right, but to also be able to document it and show the progression from beginning of music through 1979, then from 1980 on down. You see it, and it's Mr. Bob Law that really taught us what that was about. And my researchers took it a little bit further because I had to ask myself why. And then when I really started to get into the real spirit of music, that's what made me understand why. Because when you have this, it really does something to heal our hearts, bring us together, and touch our souls. And
you know, I met Gamble and Huff back in the day at the hip hop conference they used to have in Washington, Jack the Rapper. And I was there, and matter of fact, I performed. I was the only reggae artist that performed and opened up for Public Enemy before they came. But they had me early in the show before the crowd came in, you know. But it was about 1,000, probably about 1,000 people. But that place hold another 5,000. So they just put me on to do my one song because I was with Elijah Shabazz, who was my manager at that time, and we was there with Haq Islam back in the day and all those guys, man. And we was at the Citadel over there near Howard University because it was all at Howard University, man. And because I was that conscious reggae artist, a Muslim conscious reggae artist, they put me on the stage to do my thing, Black and White Story, which is on YouTube and all that, and teaching Black history. I even turned it into a children's book, Dwann.
Oh yeah.
Let we tell the story. That's what it's called. Yo, I followed Bob Marley's children. They turned his some of his lyrics into children's book, and now it's selling on another level. So that's how this don't work, man. I'm waiting for you to write your book, sir. I've been telling y'all and say, yo, you need to write your book.
I'm a year into it right now. I'm about a year and a half into it almost. It just took on a new life of its own. I'm 22 chapters in.
It always does take on a new life of its own. All the books I've written take on its own life, man. But I'm proud of you, proud of your beloved wife, man. Tell your wife I send my greetings, of course. Always shout out your wife, man, because I like to see couples. You know, I've been married 3 times. I'm gonna do it. I'll probably do it one more time. I'm just focusing. You know, there's nowadays you don't know who to trust nowadays, bro. So I'm glad you've been with somebody that you can trust and Bob Law was with his wife until she passed on. They can trust. That's how it is all. That's really what it's about. People you can trust and roll with all the way till the wheels roll off, bro. That's right. That's the deal, man. So I commend you, man, and thank you for coming on, man, and showing me love, man. And
thank you again for inviting me, man.
Of course, my brother. And I got to come on your show. You got to come on my show officially with the cardology and the numerology. We got to do what we do. We got to show this magic.
Right, we do.
All right, man. Take care. All right, peace and love.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, brother. All right, let me see if Lala is still here. Lala, where you at, girl? Let me see if Lala, you there? I'm trying to see if your Biden phone works. I'm trying to help you here. You don't got no camera. I don't know what's up with you. Lala, where you at before I play this clip of Bob Law again? I got some Bob Law clips. Lala, I don't know where you at. If you can you get, are you there, Lala? Okay, if you can't show yourself on camera, you could always talk. Okay, she gone again. Lord have mercy. Where you at? Where you at? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you might not be able to show yourself on camera, but you could talk. What's up? Lala, I know you worked at WWRL with us back in the day, right?
Yes, sir.
So what was some of the other spirits that you had with Bob Law back in those days when we was at WWRL? I think we was in Queens at that time, right?
Simon?
Huh? Can you hear me?
Oh gosh. Well,
Oh.
okay. Say that again. I'm sorry.
No, you was at WWRL when we was at Queens, correct?
Yes, Woodside. Yep.
Woodside,
Yep.
Woodside, the old building with the big antenna on
Yeah.
top. Yes. Family, this is Lala. She's the invisible woman right now.
I'm trying to get this camera. It's saying that it keeps stopping unexpectedly.
I told you, you got that old Biden phone. You got that old Biden phone. You got to leave them old Biden phones alone.
I know. Would you believe this is I'm an Android girl. This is an iPhone.
Oh, y'all ain't gonna blame it on Android because I got me an Android. I don't know what you talking about.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm an Android girl. I'm on an iPhone right now.
You got an iPhone? Oh, see,
Yeah.
iPhone means I don't know what phone you using. That's what iPhone means. Y'all go ahead with that. But I have an iPhone. I have an iPhone just in case of emergency, also. So I do have an iPhone just in case. I do have.
I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan.
How was your experience with Bob Law back in the old days? Before I play this clip and get out of here,
I'm gonna call Bob Law the Godfather,
like Queen Afua did. That's right.
Oh, really? Oh, wow! Look at that.
Queen Afua called him the Godfather too. She just called him the Godfather when you.
Wow.
If you read, she called him the Godfather. Wow. He was the Godfather.
Yes, Bob Law the Godfather. And what kind of attributed to that tag is because I'm so short and he was so tall. So I would just come in and I would just feel like, all right, I'm coming in. What am I gonna learn today from Mr. Law? And so a couple things that I recognized and picked up from Mr. Law, his composure.
Yes.
Even if he was being stern with someone, he was so composed and just humble. Another thing that I learned from Mr. Law is his professionalism. He was so professional. And where I come from, I don't want to go too far into that rabbit hole, but that was a rare sight.
Yes.
To be surrounded by black men professionals.
Yes.
Who were composed and humble and all these characteristics that Mr. Law embodied.
Yes.
So yeah.
No, Bob was definitely professional. Like I said, I told the story when he hired me, man. I knew by listening to WWRL what type of music, and I went to Love is the Message.
Mm-hmm.
And I did an intro for Love is the Message. This is Simon Temple right here on WWRL 1600. And here's the music called Love is the Message by such and such and such. I broke it down, and then I closed. I did an outro on it. And then he called me back the next week and hired me. I said, yeah, we're going to do this. Because I was studying radio, and I was studying some of my favorite jocks like Frankie Crocker. Even Prince Kalunda was one of my favorite jocks on radio back in the day. And a lot of David Levy also was one. And then Vi Higginson and people like Ken Spiderweb. You remember Ken Spiderweb was with us, remember? Ken Spiderweb was there on WWRL. And of course, a lot of different people, Ian the Goose, all these people that was on radio prior to me going on a paid radio stuff, because I was on WNWK doing the broker station with Clive Hudson and a few other people when Clinton Lindsay and everybody's there, because I was promoting my music back in the day too. So it was a great time, man. I finally got on somebody that was really willing to pay me, and then I did a morning show, and then on WWRL, me and Prince Kalunda did the morning show. So it was Bob Law that was the catalyst for me getting on WWRL in 1999 after I couldn't get hired on V103 in Georgia. So I came back to New York. My spirit came back to New York, and I said, man, I'm going to get, and I sure enough landed a job on WWRL. It was meant for me to come back and do what I had to do. And the rest is history.
Wait a minute. Wait. You got to RL in 99?
1999.
I got there right after you.
Yes, I know.
Oh my gosh.
I was there till 2005. Remember, we was there till 2005.
No, I think I left before you because
Yeah,
remember that's when I started the family.
because I was doing radio, I was doing television, I was doing Caribbean Soul TV, I was doing the clubs, you know, I was
Yes.
doing all these different things, parties, everything. So I was doing everything simultaneously, a lot of that stuff.
Yes.
And then I got hired. I was at SOBs. No, I had just left SOBs in 98 and then landed that job in 1999. So yeah, that was doing what I love to do. Get on that microphone or get on that stage and enjoy. And the family, let me say that one thing about
And make
Bob
people
Law,
feel good.
if you got a voice like everybody else, don't be talking about my voice ain't good. That's why I don't get on I don't look good. Nowadays, everybody got a voice on YouTube and all these other platforms. Go ahead and make some money with your voice by getting your network up and do what you got to do. We need as many Black voices or melanated voices as we can on this airwave now to talk the truth, to bring the history, to bring your legacy, your lineage, your heritage, whatever it is, from the Americas to the Caribbeans, whatever it is, to Africa. Get online and go get this and make this money for yourself and your family, because it's just residual wealth. Believe me, Bob Law, although he wasn't too much with the apparatuses like this, but he understood the need to get our voices out clear. And then even if you have your own website, set up your website in the background and then make sure, like Prince did. Prince put all this stuff on Facebook at one time, and then he just built his own website and then pulled all this stuff from Facebook and put it on his own website and own his own stuff. That's what Prince did back in the day. Big up to Prince, the late great Prince also. So my dear, thank you so much for coming on briefly as much as you could.
And listen, I need you to join me in Switzerland, please.
When you going to Switzerland?
I fly out Sunday, sir.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's right. So
I'll be there Monday, and so we're gonna be doing a lot of FaceTiming and Instagramming and
well, let's do a live from Switzerland. Yeah, let's do a quick live from Switzerland.
Yes.
Probably Sunday or Monday. How long you be out there for? A week?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see if we can find some of them Black Swits, the melanated Swits out there.
Listen.
I know there's a few of them out there. I know a lot of them.
Oh, I had no idea the presence that we have in Switzerland, Simon.
Oh, they out there, because they used to come to SOBs. A lot of them used to come to SOBs when they came to town, the legendary SOBs, the reggae show. So I knew some great, beautiful Black Switzerland mixed melanated mulatto sisters. They used to come through all the time, man, from Switzerland. But you have a safe trip out there. Have a safe trip.
Yes, thank you.
And no, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I love you too, brother.
All right, peace and love. All right, take care.
Peace and love.
All right, peace. That's our girl Lala in the building. I want to thank her for coming up. Let me play this last clip that we had at Nicholas Brooklyn back in the day. We did this clip at Nicholas Brooklyn back in the day, February 8th, as you can see. As a matter of fact, you can Google it if you want to watch the whole thing. It's 3 different clips, part 1, part 2, part 3. This happens to be part 2 with Bob Law speaking. Check this out.
Is that it didn't start with Don Cornelius. The idea of Black dance show.
Hold on. I wanted to let y'all know that Bob Law is talking about Don Cornelius and how Soul Train started. So let me rewind it just a little bit. But this is what he is talking about right now. That's how much history he knew. Even when Soul Train started, Bob Law understood the history and where it came from. So check this out. And this is our closing clip before we leave.
And somehow Billy and Stagger Lee danced and lived. Right. But the point is that it didn't start with Don Cornelius. The idea of Black dance show television or Blacks on television. See, one of the first person to actually really take being serious about being Black on television was a brother right here in New York City. His name was Ellis Hazlett. And Ellis Hazlett produced a show called Soul. And it was on public TV, it was on Channel 13. It was a major production. And Ellis Hazlett is the person who opened the doors and made people aware of the vibrancy and the richness and the vibrancy of black art, black culture, black music, and black personalities. And he did soul. His co-host was a disc jockey from WWRL named Jerry Bledsoe. And soul was a major production. And it was so successful that people began to create other shows. Positively Black on Channel 4, Like It Is on Channel 7. A number of other shows came. Alma John had a show on Channel 11, Inside Bed-Stuy on Channel 5. All of those shows came as a result of the groundbreaking work that Ellis Hazlett did with soul. And then came the black consciousness and the black arts movement. And the black arts movement created an environment that made everything black profitable. The black consciousness movement turned everything black into something that became very viable. You could sell anything. There was a brother who had these little leather pouches, about that big.
I think I remember those pouches.
Had little leather pouches.
Around your neck.
And around your neck, and he had some soil in there. And he said that he got it from Africa. And I don't know, he might have got it from Prospect Park. But he said he got it from Africa and he called it soul soil. And he sold that. You could sell anything, which is one of the reasons that black people, some black owners went into ownership of black radio, because it was a cash cow. And so on the strength of that kind of a environment, Don Cornelius was the beneficiary of that environment. He could go to someone and say, I have an idea for a black version of American Bandstand. And see, what he would say is that, and it will sell just like everything else black is selling. And then Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff wrote the Soul Train theme. And that came out of Philly International, the Sound of Philadelphia. They took the Sound of Philadelphia and gave it some national visibility. That song would resonate with the audience. And that song drew people in before you even saw the show.
Right.
But everything that Kenny and Leon did had that kind of music. You know, they had hit after hit. They were really more so than Motown. Motown was the sound of America. And Motown was not trying to be black. You know, they just had black artists because white artists wouldn't sign with them. And the black artists they had were some of the finest performers on the planet. And the Motown rhythm section, you know, they used to do the rhythm track by themselves, and then the artists would come in and sing over the rhythm track. But the musicians recorded the rhythm track, the music track rather, like it was their own record. And so if you listen to just the music that was underneath the artists at Motown, that music could stand by itself.
Yes.
And then they had really wonderful singers. But Kenny and Leon in Philadelphia had another sense of urban reality and what was happening in the black community. All of that came together so that for Soul Train, and Soul Train being nationally broadcast, helped to showcase and celebrate, like you say, the music, the dance, the clothing, the style, everything. And it was at a time when black people were very much concerned with style. So there was a time when black men used to dress, when they used to leave the house, look like they paid attention to what they were putting on before they left the house. You know, there was a time when black men walked down the street. Nicky Giovanni wrote some poems talking about how good the brothers looked with their tight pants and stuff. You know, but there was a time when black men they could be photographed at any time and put in a fashion magazine just based on how they looked as they went from day to day. You know, and Don Cornelius was an example of that. And black radio personalities were an example of that. If you saw a black disc jockey walking down the street in 1977, you would say, if you didn't recognize him, you would say, who is that? That's somebody. I lived in an apartment building. Hank Spann and I lived in the same apartment building. Hank Spann was a soul surfer on WWRL. And we used to ride up in the elevator together, a lot of times, coming from places together. And so one day I got on the elevator by myself. And a white guy got on the elevator. We were going up, and the guy said, listen, can I ask you something? I said, your friend, who is he? What does he do? Because he carries an attaché case and and he does, you know, his car's downstairs in the garage under the building. He's driving this Cadillac out of here every morning. He's got an attaché case, but he's clearly not an insurance salesman. You know, not with those clothes and that look and that cologne, and you know, who is he? But he looks like somebody. You know, there was a style that was very prevalent at that time. And so, black radio, just to sum it up, black radio, in changing from black to urban, in allowing corporate America to redefine black radio, and saying to black radio that if you're going to survive, you're going to have to change and be something that we are more comfortable with. Black radio agreed to do that, and it was a trick. Even when they did that, corporate America still said, we're not satisfied. Right. Because you really can't satisfy white supremacy.
No.
And what happens now is that at a lot of levels, there are, with using black star power, putting a black face on white supremacy. So you will watch black folk. See, there are black folk on the cover of half the magazines on the newsstand right now. So when you look and see Queen Latifah on 3 magazine covers and Jennifer Hudson on magazines and on television, you see all these black folk with this major kind of visibility. It doesn't occur to you that black folk no longer own any magazines. You know, there's a black face on white supremacy. Whites dominate in terms of ownership, control, distribution, but it doesn't resonate with you because it appears that black people are in charge, that black people are doing very, very well. It is, that is the function, that is how black star power is being used right now. Black star power, and it's not the stars necessarily understanding what they're doing or trying to cooperate with the demise of their own community. They are being paid and they are doing well. They don't necessarily know what the larger political context is, right? But let me, if you, any thoughts, any questions before we go any further?
Okay.
Yes.
You mentioned keywords, and I know that when people say urban affairs, does that click for people instead of saying, you know, we deal with politics or certain things? Are there certain keywords that people hear and then they know exactly what that means? So, for example, I used to work at Bloomberg's company, and I had a chance to talk to the Bureau of Bloomberg News, who was a woman. And I told her, I said, we do urban affairs. And somebody said, don't ever say that word to white people because then that means that it means something, yeah, it means something totally different to them. It just came off my tongue. I didn't know what to say. I was just talking off my toes. So are there keywords that you say that they know exactly what, and they've given us these keywords and we might not even know, because I was ignorant to know what I was actually saying.
See, there's urban, for instance, doesn't always, like at Bloomberg, for instance, if they say we want to have somebody that's doing stories about the urban community, urban centers. Urban is referring most often to black people. Okay. In a company, it doesn't always have to refer to black people. If you talk about urban affairs, in a company that has an urban affairs department, that's the black department. Mm-hmm. If you are doing an urban story on what happens in urban centers, that's talking about black people. You know, sometimes it can mean just going out and doing a story on what goes on in any part of the city. See, the city is urban.
Yeah, that's
and there's the suburb, and then there's urban, right? And then there's the country, right? There's rural. Right. Rural, urban, and suburb. And urban is supposed to be the city, right, not just black people. Exactly. However, in the political context, it is a code word, and it means black people. The Urban Affairs Department is the department that deals with black people. The urban centers, that's where black people live. But that's why they call it the urban center. They used to call it the inner city. And inner city, you know, meant black folk. Now it's called the urban center. And they're going to need to come up with a new word because now white folk are moving into the urban center.
Exactly.
Right. But it is, in a political context, yes, it does mean black. But what happened with you and somebody who says don't use that word, see, one of the things that happened with black people who work in corporate America, they try to anticipate what white people want from them. So nobody even had to tell them to tell you not to use that word. They will say that on their own, trying to see. One of the things that a lot of middle-class blacks in corporate America have perfected is how to punk out. So they have perfected compromise, and they think that compromise, backing down, punking out, is sophisticated business. They think that that's how you survive, that's how you do business. And so they have devised a number of ways that they use to step back, step down, take low, and call it being sophisticated. There was a black man who had a key position at back in the old days of CBS Records. And I had a choir, youth choir, some kids, 40 kids in my Respect Yourself youth choir. And this brother was supplied baseball jackets for the choir. So he told me, just come, tell me how many you need. You need 40, I'll take care of that. He told me to come to his office one point. I came, he wasn't there, and I told his secretaries, his assistants, that he told me to come, and he wanted this information, so I had the information. They said, oh, no, you have to write a letter. And you have to write a letter, explain this, explain that. This is how it works. They said, this is how it works. I'm telling you, this is how to get this done. And I said, no, what he's trying to do is exercise some power. Right. He's got the power to do this. So he's doing it without all of the bureaucracy. He's trying to flex some muscle, exercise some power. Oh, no. Now listen, I've been in here for 20 years, I know. And what they were saying is that we know how to back down. We know how to take low. And so I never did the letter, and he did supply the jackets. I mean, I understood what he was trying to do, he understood what I was trying to do. But the people who work in corporate America are always, very often, looking for ways to compromise and to make concessions. And when they make concessions, they call it that is them being sophisticated enough.
That was the great Bob Law. May he rest in eternal peace. Those who want to watch that whole clip, please just put the link if you want to watch that whole. That's a 28. Matter of fact, there's 3 different clips. And once you click on this one, at the bottom in the description, you'll see all the clips of part 1, part 2, and part 3. I want to thank Sister Keziah Glow, who was also a part. She was the one that asked the question, but she was also a part of this panel, alongside a sister named Fatima. I believe her name was Fatima, another radio and personality that was there back in 2012. So I've been trying to advocate for what we do at Nicholas Brooklyn and different other venues for a long time. 2012, man, look how many years this was with Bob Law in Black History Month, because I had a whole Black History Month calendar. So my dear brother Bob, may you travel with the ancestors. Thank you for being one of my teachers. Thank you for being one of my guides. Thank you for sitting down and conversing with me when I needed that time, even when he got pushed out of WWRL by another personality. Thank you for allowing me to work with you to bring Claude Anderson twice, not once, but twice, to New York City. Thanks to Dr. Claude Anderson for being the professional he was, and both of them being good friends of each other. Rest in peace, brother. Rest in peace. And thank you again for giving me an opportunity at that time to feed my family, feed myself, produce my events, giving me a job at a radio station that paid me instead of me paying the station to be on there like I did for WNWK, WPAT. But this time, he's seen my worth. He's seen my worth and brought me on. Thank you, Brother Bob Law, for being a true person. No matter who liked you and who didn't like you, you said what you meant and meant what you say, as an Aries man would. As an Aries man would. Him and Sonetta born the same day, April the 6th. Big up to Sonetta. But thank you, Dr. Bob Law, for your greatness, for you and your wife who helped us out through health, through Namaskar. I understand it's not open anymore since both of them have passed on. since Montu passed on a couple of years ago. Thank you. Thank you to your family, to those close friends of yours, your children. I hope to hear the word from the family to get, so hopefully I'll get to speak at the funeral. But once again, thanks to the legendary Bob Law for what he did for me and many others that he hired at WWRL. Whew, man, so much. Thank you so much, family. Yes. Thank you. This was a beautiful honor, King. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Abundance, thank you, Abundance Child, for being in the building. Everybody that came in, thank you, honoring him for such a informative, inspirational tribute. You did him proud. I hope I did. Bob was very particular about the voice of radio. And like Lala said, he kept his composure because he just had that smooth voice that didn't have to go beyond. He didn't have to yell. Just his presence at 6'7", 6'8" tall. You knew not to just say what you want to say to Bob. He probably put his foot in your chest. He was as tall as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And he trained how to fight back in the day. So big up to him. I don't know if he did Wing Chun or one of the styles of karate, but if that tall man kicked you, that would be a different thing. So when he spoke with a velvet voice, just like Frankie Crocker and all the rest of them. Ken Spiderweb, Vaughn Harper, all those great ones that I got to meet, I got to talk to. I was a up and coming disc jockey coming up. So again, want to thank each and every one of the great jocks from the past, the Eddie OJ, the Jocko Henderson, the Alma John, Rocky, Rocky, who was also a part of us at WNWK. Even Ray Higgins was a part of WNWK. Baba Ray Higgins, the elder Ray Higgins, was a part of WNWK. And of course, Montu, his wife, of course, stuff that he did at the Million Man March. He spoke at the Million Man March. He spoke at the Madison Square Garden lecture with Minister Farrakhan and all that. So I know they're going to probably put him in the newspaper, the Final Call newspaper, if he's not already in there. Bob Law was a big supporter of the Nation of Islam. And he also said he had his own security team. Big up to Beast. If y'all know who Beast is, that's a security, former security of Wyclef Jean. He was in the movie Shotters with the shotgun, the big dude with the shotgun. I texted him and I called him to find out if it was true. And he confirmed that, yeah, Bob Law passed on. Big up to Beast all the time. Enough respect to that security team and all the guerrilla unit, the G unit, the guerrilla unit back in the day. But I got to meet a lot of good people, work with a lot of good people on radio. I got to, because of Bob Law, I interviewed politicians. I interviewed Nancy Wilson, the great legendary singer. I interviewed Cuba Gooding Sr. from Mint Condition. I interviewed, not Mint Condition, Main Ingredients, from the Main Ingredients. Everybody plays a fool sometimes. There's no exception to the rules. Listen, baby, everybody plays a fool. I got to interview Cuba Gooding Jr.'s father on radio. Shaggy, of course, I go back to high school with him. Al Sharpton. We had Eitan Edwards on there. We had so many people through just that hiring. Thank you, Bob Law, once again. Family, have a great day, afternoon, or evening. Remember, if you got a voice, share your voice, man. You got this apparatus called YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. It's giving you a vehicle to go share your voice. Bob shared his voice on WWRL, WBAI, LIB, WBLS when they did a tribute to Frankie Crocker. share your voice. If you got a message, and I know everybody has a message, but if you have a message about your own history, your own heritage, your own lineage, whatever, share your voice. Share your voice with the people. And don't be afraid. No matter if it's only 2 people watching you, you stay consistent like I've stayed consistent. I don't pay for views. I don't pay people to view I don't pay for bots. I've raised my station, my channel organically throughout the years. And I want to thank each and every one of y'all for supporting, donating to the channel when you could, super chat, super sticker, whatever you did, or donating through PayPal, Cash App, Chime, or Venmo. Thank you so much. And Bob Law was a inspiration to many radio people, and I know he was inducted in the Radio Hall of Fame, also the Radio and Television Hall of Fame. I broadcast from the Radio Television Museum. It was a Radio Television Museum. I broadcast from there years ago, and I invited Master Duncan. Master Ronald Duncan was one of my hosts there. So, man, it's a beautiful thing to have been a part of history and herstory. Big up to Sergio Dean, who also came to WWRL after WBLS. Big up to Ken Spiderweb. Big up to Vi Higginson, Pat McKay, Francine Chin, Sharon Gordon, all of us that did radio over there, the women and the men that did radio. Big up to Chevette Watson, who was the executive accountant over there, or secretary there. Big up to Adrian Gaines, who was the general manager. Big up to Sid Smalls, the late Sid Smalls, and I just found out that Anthony Smalls, his son, passed on. Big up to those 2 people. Tony Morris, Howard Dow from the Dow Twins. I'll be interviewing the legendary Dow Twin. I'll be having him on. I spoke to him. I'll have him on the 29th of this month. So we got some people that I'm going to bring on, some ancient of days people that I'm going to bring on, still bringing on quality people. That's it. Only quality people. That's it. Oh, Mr. G, thank you so much, Mr. G. Mr. G, also another quality person that showed me love. Thank you, Mr. G, for showing love. Make sure y'all get his tonic. I'll play the commercial again. I got the tonic. I'm gonna take some of it right here in your face. I'm gonna take some of this tonic right here. I call it the vegan alkaline Hennessy. It pops, man. Boop, pop. Thank you, Mr. G, for that donation right there, man. Thank you very much. That's the kind of people you want to support you 100% because we support each other. And Mr. G and I go back to Martin Luther King High School. So Martin Luther King High School back in Manhattan over there. So again, family, David Lampel, you can't forget David Lampel. I mean, so many people, man. G. Keith Alexander, all of these great. I've been to the funeral of Von Harper. I missed the funeral. It was so packed. Frankie Crocker's funeral, that's too packed. And big up to Gary Bird. I'm going to see if I can get him on. I had Fatim on, the producer of Al Sharpton's show and online. So look through my archives. I got over 2,500 videos of only quality people and information, keeping it all positive and productive. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. And let me thank those that came on earlier that you probably missed, those that are just tuning in. I had Queen Afua was on. This is her website right here, and it's pinned to the top, queenafua.com. I had DwannB.com. I had Keziah Glow from WHCR, and I had Sister Lala, who used to work with us at WWRL in Queens. They was on earlier. So I want to thank all of those people that passed through and showed love. And y'all be safe out there. Take care of your health. This has been the tribute to Bob Law. And I will see you on the other side. And do remember, family, we will be doing the fundraiser for Nicholas Brooklyn, star-studded event, 52-year legacy, April the 18th. We will be there live and direct. Don't forget, WHCR is doing that on April the 30th from 7 to 9 p.m. over there at the Aaron Davis Hall. That's where I went to see Ian Levanzant back in the day, 129 Convict Avenue. Many lectures has happened over there. Also, they had the martial arts over there at the City College. This is in City College, the Aaron Davis Hall. They had the Wesley Snipes martial arts seminar, Masters of the Martial Arts. I was there too. And also P. Diddy had his thing over there back in the day. Yes, he did do the basketball game around that area, City College. So I was there too, but I wasn't there for security. We just passed through and they didn't need our help, so we left. That's what we was told. There it is. So it is what it is. Do remember the next interview coming up will be, the next thing coming up will be I'll be covering this martial arts seminar on April the 4th. I'll be there at Akbar Hall. Then I have my brother, Professor Ron Howard, the legendary TV show from the legendary TV show On the Mat. He will be with us live and direct. Also, on the 8th, we have Asir, the Duke of Tears, and Selena of 10,000 Years, information that heal and reveal. Oh, before that, on the 7th, I have Sensei Carol Glasgow. She will be with us, but she's going down another path, although she still trains martial arts. I've had her on my show before. Carol's greeting cards is coming up, and she'll be at Nicholas Brooklyn for the fundraiser. She'll be vending there. So come on out and get these extraordinary greeting cards that she produces and hand paint and all that kind of stuff. She's very good at what she does. Pardon me. And on the 12th, I have my brother, Dr. David El Cordero Bey. He's coming in, Moorish, Masonic, and Babalao practices. How is it all connected? We're going to talk about that on April the 12th. And then on April the 15th, we have our beloved Dr. Valentine returns. Names and faces have changed, but the games are still the same. Dr. Valentine returns, of course. Can't wait to have him on. Big up to Radio Rich. Make sure you get a cigar. Email him at richinmerit@yahoo. Get all my books on Amazon. You can get all my books on Amazon right now. Make sure you get it right now at Amazon. You could also be a part of my channel and be a part of this commercial cluster and broadcast not only here, but also on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and again, YouTube. All right. And if you're into more martial arts, we have this in May 1st and May 2nd is the annual gathering tribute to Dr. Powell and Professor V, the Circle of Sanukis. It's a whole gathering of the Grandmasters. I'll be broadcasting live on May the 2nd at the dojo. And then in June, we're going to be covering this. As long as everything is going well with the flights, I don't have to take no darn bus or train over there. We're going to be over there in Long Beach, California, 4321 Atlantic Avenue at the Expo Arts Center. All right, we're going to be there. Also, shout out to my son, Prince Imagine. He got his Green Studio NYC. He's the one that did my audiobook. So make sure y'all go to my membership for my audiobook. Join my audiobook. My membership is only $9.99 a month. And you'll get to listen to my 4.5-hour audiobook. All right. And last but not least, Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. Support our brother. Call the 800 number. But if you go to the website, you get to connect to his app, his newsletters, all of that. And you could even book a session with our brother. And NicholasBrooklyn.com, Nicholas Cultural, NicholasBrooklyn.com. Go to the GoFundMe. If you can't make it to the fundraiser, go to the GoFundMe and support all that she's doing. And make sure you take my course on Udemy.com. Put the word numerovation in there and it will pop up automatically. Once again, I want to thank each and every one of you. Like Dr. B says from elevationtime.com, I forgive myself, my family, and others for imperfection, and I am thankful for my life. And like Dr. Blair used to say, from the metacenter2.com or metacenterchicago.com, please, Universal Creator, know in my heart that I love you. Please protect me and this planet on which I live now. Please open up my mind, my spirit, and my soul to receive only truth and your love now. Have a great day, afternoon, or evening. Once again, thank you for tuning in to the Bob Law Tribute. And remember, I love you because I love me. Take care. One love.